has met the night. Magic island, full of magic people. Let me tell you a story about their pain and their glory. Oh yeah. Many rivers flow to this naked eye, bringing fear and pain, but also a brand new style. And of all these rivers that shape this land, two mighty ones move like a sculptor's hand. And today those hands across the land, man, is still landscaping. And there's no doubt we can work it out, there is no escaping. As the river flows, there are those who will change its passage, but every common man got to understand up and send a message. So put up your hand if you understand. Now come, see how we moving, watch how we grooving, see how we step in style. One lovely nation under a groove, the Ganges don't meet the night. Them boys with the hidden agendas and the mind benders, people don't take it front. Your smart men and politicians can come along if they want, cause the people got the power and the glory. See how we float in sky, see how we moving, watch how we grooving. The Ganges has met the night. Differences there will always be, so that you'll be you and I'll be me. That's the damn thing, self, that makes it sweet. Brother, bring your drum, let me start to beat. Don't mind them politicians. I will they follow tricky situation. We done jamming and we jamming and we jamming and jam, cause we know the story. Let them fight if they want in this land of the deferred glory. People put up your hand if you understand. Now come, see how we moving, watch how we grooving, see how we step in style. One lovely nation under a groove, the Ganges don't need the night. Them boys with the hidden agendas and the mind benders, they will always do their due. Various smart men and politicians, them could come along too, cause we moving with the power and the glory, glory, glory. Somewhere up in Laventille, many years ago, a man had a hammer, used to follow it to and fro. He used to use it to pong a pan, or sometimes a stupid man, all in the savannah, never miss panorama. One day the old hammer just disappeared. Oh, say that it vanished into thin air. Away the man with the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Anybody know where the hammer gone? Tell me where he gone. Can you tell me what's going on? Tell me where he gone. I want to know where the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Go up and leave. Train. Why you make me grieve? Train. Hammer, tell me that. Train. Why you do with that? Train. Oh Lord. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more. April of 85, Hammer went to sleep. After years of making noise, not even a peep. He used to move with the Dragon Man.
Here are 10 facts you need to know about the fake oil scandal. Fact 1. The owner of AB Oil and Gas, Nazim Baksh, is also the father of PNM Senator Alison Baksh. According to the Express newspaper, Senator Baksh. Here are 10 facts you need to know about the fake oil scandal. Fact 1. The owner of AB Oil and Gas, Nazim Baksh, is also the father of PNM Senator Alison Baksh. According to the Express newspaper, Senator Baksh was a director and company secretary of AB Oil and Gas from 1997, when the company was founded, until 2 months before the 2020 general election. At that time, Senator Baksh held the same number of...
On the 8th of October, exactly 1 month after the government came into office, I appointed a standing committee of energy.
Yes, I am on air now. I am on air now.
I am the chairman of the Prime Minister. And the committee included the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Energy and Industry, the Minister of Public Utilities and Power Generation, the Minister of Rural and Local Development, the Minister of Planning and Development, the Minister of the Attorney General's Office,
Sister Sheila, what going on? This hammer give me a heavy horn. This thing like a police puts on me corn.
on the 8th of October, exactly 1 month after the government came into office, I appointed a standing committee of energy. And that committee, I took the chairmanship of the Prime Minister. And the committee is
I say you don't walk the trail. I say you don't walk the trail. You don't walk the trail. You don't walk the trail. No, no. Walk the trail no more. You don't leave the bamba there. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more. He don't walk the trail. He don't walk the trail. He don't walk the trail no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more.
Yes, indeed, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. This is, yes, the Corridor Transformation. Your host, Lennox Smith, on this, of course, beautiful Wednesday edition, bumper program, as per usual, of course, in particular to those along the east-west corridor, from, of course, Chagaramas in the west to Toko in the east, and then, of course, across the Boca to Tobago. A pleasant good night to all and sundry. And let me say as well, of course, whatever time of the day it is in your neck of the woods, to the diaspora and to the entire globe, a pleasant good day to you. This is, yes, beaming from Port of Spain, Trinidad, the Corridor Transformation. What it is all about for transformation. The name itself, of course, indicates the purpose, objective, and raison d'etre, the reason for its existence. It is about, of course, waking up. It is about dynamism. It is about conscientious recognition that the present circumstance of the country could have been better, should have been better, and that we have a group of individuals who have lied, deceived, and as a consequence is prepared to utilize the state resources, utilizing what I consider to be a mediocrity, utilizing and abusing, of course, the state apparatus and resources. Let me repeat that. The present government under Keith Christopher Rowley, a total and absolute dictator, let's not waste time with that, and a fellow who has no affinity or no compunction for decency, honor, and of course right and wrong. He has no sense of that. It's all about, of course, capturing government and staying there in order to do us evil. we have a duty and responsibility to resist and respond appropriately. And of course, the corridor transformation is one such element in that a plethora of initiatives and of course persons coalescing their resources and their intellect and of course their training in order to impact on not just the removal, not just the extinction, but the revamping of Trinidad and Tobago, the resuscitating of Trinidad and Tobago, the ensuring that the prospects of Trinidad and Tobago as inculcated or perceived by its citizens can be realized without, of course, the corruption, the nepotism, the cronyism, the smartmanism, the criminal behavior, and the belief that somehow the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago belongs to the PNM. And so those guys that are there and women are prepared, of course, to raid and to pillage and to destroy and to generate programs and initiatives ostensibly for the betterment of the country. The utopia that they promise is now in terms of reality and its presence and its rollout by this government is the antithesis of utopia. In other words, it is a dystopia. It is the opposite of utopia, and the evidence is clear. But of course, we need to always reinforce, and where there are new addendum to that body of, by this time, sufficient argument, sufficient evidence, sufficient facts, we need to persevere until that time, because evil must not prevail in Trinidad and Tobago and anywhere else in the country. Remember, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, Lennox. Pleasant good night.
Yes, indeed.
Pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith, and everybody. I need to hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear, my friend.
Right. I want to jump in early in your life tonight because I want to ask you something. The government pay $1 million for. What is the purpose of them ladders on them? What do they buy them ladders on them for?
Well, according to the chief fire officer, it is because Trinidad and Tobago has a lot of electrical poles and wires, and so wood doesn't conduct electricity. However, he didn't say whether it could burn or not, but our common sense will know that it could burn, and whether or not it is something that is being used across the globe. Only one fire station in the United States, I believe, uses wooden ladders, and that is, I think, the Los Angeles fire, because of a tradition, because they build it there and they hand carve it and so on, and therefore it is a kind of tourism exercise for them. But in Trinidad, we pay $1 million for wooden ladders that here what they wouldn't use. They wouldn't use wooden ladders that they wouldn't use. But go ahead, my friend. I have given you my perspective on that matter.
Right, so here what's going on. Today, I driving behind a T&T shop, and I say, but wait now. To me, like I hear in the saying, they're bringing these wooden ladders because fire officers will be electrocuted. They have to use them ladder in certain instance. But the T&T workers are dealing with electricity on a day. How come them in a wooden ladder? So the government can't realize that T&T dealing directly with current. So why is them in a wooden ladder? Yes, they can use the wooden ladders, but them dealing with current. And I said, but wait, I said, but Rowley and them really pushing enough to them for the people and them to rise in this country one day, you know.
Yeah, Stop provoking the people.
These people are them crazy, you know. See, and they have no woodlands.
Because they know it
And
wouldn't work.
Because
Yeah. Yes, my friend. And I want to tell you, of course, once again, I think in the second time in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll explain you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. I'm saying that I want to tell you off air, on air, doesn't matter. Second time in a row, I want to tell you not go to the above the school, but of course we put on the next layer. So go above that layer. Beautiful observation. There is a disconnect in terms of the rationality, and they have to explain that. Why it is that the utility institution is not utilizing wooden ladders, whereas the fire service is using wooden ladders, having regard to all of the drawbacks of wooden ladders. And there are quite a few. I did some research on it, and I can probably blurt it out off the cuff. All right? Yes, so well done. Well done, my friend.
I did.
Yes.
I did a lot of listening.
Yes, indeed, my friend. So that is the kind of studious and perceptive, intelligent and meticulous, and of course scrutiny that is required by a population that has a respect of not only for democracy, but the fact that transparency and accountability, and that democracy can only work when all of us are on board, when all of us have our concerns. It was Ronald Reagan who said that the preservation of our democracy, and of course the United States can be considered to be the mecca of democracy, and he said that the purpose and the objective of every successive generation in a society must keep the fires of democracy alive and burning. And once in other words, any generation drop the ball, are prepared to turn a blind eye to a small group or a leader that believes that the rule of law does not apply to him or her, and in this case him, Rowley, and his bunch of opportunistic political parasites led by him, giving them the impression that somehow the law of Trinidad and Tobago doesn't apply to them. And of course, they would have had to develop that false, illusionary, and clearly mentally deranged position, because the police and the law enforcement agencies in the country, whether it be at the level of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service or at the level of the DPP and other agencies that are supposed to assist in the security of the country, and they have abdicated their responsibility to that crop of individuals, then the country is in dire peril. We are in dire peril. And Dr. Rowley believes that he and his bunch of opportunistic political criminals can, of course, dominate Trinidad and Tobago, and all he has to do is to pretend that he is serious about something, give us some kind of hogwash that does not materialize, PNM, meaning, of course, nothing materializes, PNM. Project never materialize, and believe he can do that because they believe everybody else in Trinidad and Tobago are stupid, including the so-called intelligentsia and those persons who would have gone to university, have their degrees, working in different institutions in the country to contribute to of course, the peace and security and development and advancement and growth of the society. He believed that he could hoodwink all of them. I don't know if he believed that he has a doctorate, and then of course he got one behind the door by of course under suspicious and a very questionable circumstance. We know that. But that being as it may, no way. And that is why the corridor transformation is here. That is why the Grog report is there. That is why Alan Roberts and others are around to make certain that you get the other side. The traditional media are having a hard and difficult and challenging time to keep you glued to their propaganda, to their perspective, simply because they are eating from the national trough. And while they can claim from a moral and business perspective that they are only doing business, the fact of the matter is that there is more in the mortar than the pestle, and that they are contributing consciously to the travesty and the evil and the betrayals that has become stereotypical of the Rowley administration from since 2015 to date. But I have good news, and I am saturated with, of course, the pleasantries that the PNM clearly is in extreme difficulty when you see and you observe the desperation. Today I looked at a video on social media attempting once again to malign Kamla and deflect attention and calling them of course depraved, calling them of course dunce and so on and so forth. Well, it's the same damn dunce that caused the entire government of Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, they are too bold-faced and too arrogant and contemptuous to hang their heads in shame. But behind closed doors, certainly, we are human beings too, so we know what it is to put on a show, and then behind closed doors you say, oh, shibs boy, what the nonsense I did. I had to be a buffoon to have done that. That is what happens with them. So the PNM itself is imploding. It is, in other words, exploding from within. Implode. And eventually, you will see them up and down the country looking for votes, looking to convince you that what they perpetrated over the last 8 years didn't exist, and that Trinidad and Tobago is better off, and that of course they weren't the ones. Anything that is wrong is because Kamla and them cause it, and that therefore they win. They have not supported legislation in the parliament. Of course, last night I thought it was appropriate to begin that series. We started already, but of course the schools at Rowley in government couldn't find, so we found 107 schools that they said that Kamla and them was impossible for them to initiate in different stages, of course, of construction and completion, because of the intervention of this dastard, brutish, incompetent crop of individuals assembled by Rowley. So we're going to start there. We're going to continue, in other words. And so they never focused or ignored or dismissed or rendered nonchalant the over 83 wage settlements whilst the Kamla Prasad Bisasa administration was in 2010 to 2015. And what I discovered, it was really about 130 wage negotiations they in fact settled. Yeah. When we were looking for 100 schools, it turned out to be 107. Now we are looking for, of course, those wages that they completed. It turned out now to be about 130. But we're going to stick with the 83 for time, etc. And we are going to probably bring up the rear at a future program. Want to make it clear that we need to disabuse and to let the population know every night, every day, protracted and extended programs is if necessary, as the situation and the counter dotishness that the propaganda machinery of the PNM are prepared, of course, to spew and to try to neutralize the reality. But of course, as you know, reality and facts have us difficult. It is very difficult to dismiss, and you have a conscience as well. You see, I can even go that the so-called airport and all of the corruption swirling around it and the matter involving Basio Pandey, since it was a Basio Pandey UNC administration, and we have to accept that. But that project was started with Project Pride, where Manning's wife, Hazel Manning, was the lead in that project. And to, of course, clear and probably deposit dirt alone, we are talking millions of dollars. But the PNM, true to form, wouldn't start there. It's just as how they are trying to tell us anything that happens that they perceive to be in their favor, they jump over the Kamla Prasad Bisesa period from 2010 to 2015 and take all the credit. And when they did nonsense, like in the case of OS, and stopped the contract, and now they have to pay back the $1 billion, they now are claiming that, listen, it wasn't me. Them like Shaggy, it wasn't me. It was the UNC. And in multiple ways, attempting, of course, to absolve themselves, by themselves, of the iniquities and the mismanagement and the inability to manage anything. As I often said, if there were no Kamla Prasad Bisesa or no UNC, Rowley and the PNM would have invented a Kamla and a UNC just to give them blame for the hogwash that they are doing. What are you telling me about? You are in government. What happened? You're the cry baby? You're wearing Pampers or something? We're telling me about, but the next party, and when you can't get a law passed, is a next party, and when, of course, you do nonsense. Well, the simple thing to me, if you're blaming Kamla Prasad Bisesa for and went wrong, give up the blasted offices, give up government, or stop taking taxpayers' money under false pretense. You can't work, you can't do the job, get the hell out. But no, they will stay there and beat their chest and wallow and grovel, then say they have the audacity to say that they didn't want office, Rowley. But he's sweating in Tobago because he knows that the 2 seats in Tobago is in jeopardy. So here now, he come in there regular. His presence will only make things worse, as it was the case when, of course, the elections campaign of the Tobago, for the Tobago House of Assembly, launched by the PNM. They run Rowley, they run him because he was talking about rape. And a fellow with a rape charge can be heard in the PNM, but he is an unadulterated rapist and a pedophile and head of the PNM. Oh, how I feel ashamed of the PNM as an institution that has so much history because of its mere presence over many decades in Trinidad and Tobago from 1956. And now has turned out to be the scum of the earth, to be a total perfidious institution, one of betrayal of the people, and a unapologetic for that corrupt path that they have engaged in. And I say so because at this time you have the audacity to build that monstrous, you're thieving without any restraint, that you could build that and feel that the population must be complacent and must not speak out and must get all that money from, especially when we know that he Rowley told us that when he took over the office of head of the PNM leader, the PNM was owing $4 million or to other institutions, and you come now and you're billing a monstrosity costing, some say between, but at least upwards of or close to $100 million, and you want us to accept the hogwash? Listen, none of their talk show hosts, or should I say their talk show ghosts, because nobody could pay me. There's no amount of money in the world could pay me to talk the level of hogwash that these people talk in defense of something that is indefensible. They want to tell you that a R is a K, and they want to tell you that capital B is really a capital D. That is the level of hogwash that we are getting from these people. They are mentally and of course cognitively in decline, and for want of maybe a better term, they are in recline. I mean, it is pathetic and it is evil. But before I go, of course, to the proving of the 83 under the UNC, I want to tell you that the matter of that petri and petrochemical industry, and of course the gas industry, is not one to sweep under the carpet. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. Welcome.
Lennox.
Hey.
Good night, Lennox.
Huh?
I'm back to differ with you.
Go ahead.
You're saying that PNM, you're saying PNM took up on, right, the talk show. You're saying that the PNM took up on talk show host, right? No amount of money could pay them to do that?
No, could pay me. Could pay me. No. Be careful here. To pay me to do what they're doing. Yeah. I said to pay me to do that. To pay me, Lennox Smith, to do that.
Well, instead of them getting paid. Right.
Oh, they what?
Right, but then getting it for free, Lennox.
Oh, they did it for free?
They do it for free.
I hear you. Oh, I understand.
Talk show host do it for free. They do
it for free.
Okay.
Okay, my friend. All right, okay. I hear you.
That's what I mean. Them doing it for free.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, even that is even worse. But go ahead.
There's hearing from them now. But you know the truth I say, because you don't see any of them, you kind of big contract like we're all these big books and them getting. And for some, nothing like that. You understand? Zero for them. For them like it too.
Hey.
I see your best friend Fitzgerald come out and saying,
yeah.
That's how he's disappointed with the detection and conviction rate. But you was beating up these others last week and saying, we can break up with sex trafficker. You saw big press conference.
Which is the negotiations between May 2010 to June 2000.
That's what you mean to say.
I agree.
But he's a figment of the imagination in this country. That man is a rectangle hole. A rectangle hole in a square peg.
A rectangle.
I want to go for that. I want to know why they ain't find anybody in the why Lisa Egan sent on me. This thing with this with the information being leaked on the web and thing. I see it every day, some kind of story coming up in the newspaper. They people bank account number, and all this sort of thing being out there in the dark web.
Yeah, in the dark
and
web,
I
yes.
know once you release thing on the dark web, but they forever.
Yeah.
So anybody can go and pull up all your information in the
Yes, yes.
and
you're
why
correct.
no heads enrolling in TSCT? Why Lisa Egas still there? Because what I believe is that the IT representatives were telling them, especially, that they can be briefed because they didn't have the necessary technology to stop something like that. And they paid down, and she's the manager in that place, the chairman, whatever they call the coaching CEO, whatever. And she should have been rolling on a platter today. She should be fired forthwith, not yesterday, but forthwith right now.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing we have running for governance in this country.
Yeah, it can't be a real place.
A couple of weeks now with this thing going on, and nobody is responsible for it. But people business outside in the open, they can be hacked at any point in time. Personal business, and these process working around like if nothing at all is wrong with that.
No big thing, no big
Well,
thing.
yes, in this country, that real laughing
It's a
about
travesty, yeah. Is a kind of
but they will see
macabre state of affairs. Yeah.
They will see that one by one, the people going in the bank account and the money missing. So let the government sit down and play the fool. Only the people in this country too happy and too happy. They have the carnival mentality, once they have the carnival, they're happy with that. But the motor isn't the person. I'm waiting for the electricity rate to go up. I know what the entire for. They should have done increase it already, they should have done gazette it already and then put it out to the public. They have a windfall of money to make it put it before the Christmas season, because they can make 10 times the amount of money because people will be liking Christmas during that time. So if the CSCC, they know how to make money, they have to be shut. I mean, CSCC, they know how to make money, they dance with it. And furthermore, they're talking about the barrels they have. But you know how is only number one salesman, he was selling cake and cupcake and thing, and they make $4-8 million out of that. So they're wrong. And if the government was serious, you probably could have sold cake and cupcake to the other Caribbean country and could have turned around the economy, because that's the only way to be a positive thing now with building this big high-rise building.
Yeah.
Ain't it so? We should be selling cake and thing too. So we can grow the economy. Yeah, because it seems like the master plan for your deficit or your bankruptcy around. Look at how by doing that portion, big building now, and the prime minister is around. And all the Benzes, you know who's driving them Benz, they imaginary or what? The Benz are in there, so we have to know who win all of that. You know anybody there, no?
I am.
Who in one of those Benz?
Nah, I'm outside of that.
So me ain't know nobody. I ain't know nobody.
All right.
All right, man. Thank
you very much, of course. Sarcasm usually will get you everywhere here on this program. You don't necessarily have to mean what you say. Once, of course, read between the lines, and of course, clearly is always something that is sinister, always something that is evil, always something that is debilitating to the population, possessing the population, particularly the most vulnerable, from the spoils and the benefits and the windfall of the country for their 1%ers in particular. As I was saying before the call, we must critically examine this petrotrin matter, and our gas and the petrochemical industries. Of course, each one being a subset of that industry, the hydrocarbon industry. And I'll tell you why. I say so because it is clear now from the evidence that is now before us that the PNM had always targeted from since Manning time that the height of the economy, the place where the most dollars, and of course US dollars in particular, foreign exchange, is of course acquired or gained or income achieved. And so I want you to take note, because we're going to start that if I have time, with respect to proving to you that the UNC did in fact complete 83 to 130 wage negotiations. You see, it is important to do that, because you would see as well that all of it would have been, at least in part, a leftover from the previous PNM and therefore Manning and Rowley administration before 2010. Yes, the negotiations would have been completed maybe all around 2011, 1 year after the UNC came in. But I didn't hear Kamala shouting to the roof, and to all who could listen or willing to hear, like a cry baby and a big man in Pampers, that is the problem that they left us. She went about it as a responsible person, a responsible prime minister, because there are certain things you cannot avoid, because government is a continuum. You cannot say, or you cannot be elected and then say that debt that the last government didn't pay and not paying. No, you jeopardize the whole country, as we saw with Rowley. And of course, while of course by and large he has medium contractors, he was strident in either renegotiating or bellowing, and in fact used that as an excuse to close down Petrotrin by saying that there was a 850 million bullet payment to be made by August of that particular year, and therefore they had to take the political decision, as tough as it was, to close down Petrotrin, when in fact it was about trying to get Rowley extricated from the fake oil issue. Let's not waste time with that. And the entire cabinet must be held culpable. They cannot exculpate themselves from the responsibility and the criminal conduct and the offense to the integrity in public life and corruption laws that we have in this country. So let me identify the areas that we must extrapolate, that we must analyze. One, the genesis of it is the Malcolm Jones fiasco as the first. It's under Rowley over the last 8 years. This man is cursed. This man is a consummate criminal. So he take Malcolm Jones matter out of the court, billions of dollars, for that gas to liquid fiasco that is still a lingering cross to carry, a lingering evil and burden on Trinidad and Tobago. But let's go further. So we had Malcolm Jones. After that, as if that was it, but you also have subsequent to that now a man who say not closing down Petrotrin and close it down, and then we get it as a consequence of the fake oil. So the fake, we have to examine it. We must do it. It is the lifeblood of the country that Rowley and they tinkered with and play with. The closure still of the oil refinery, that's the third one that we must deep up, and they compartmentalize Petrotrin. You have of course heritage of the oil refinery is crucial, because that saga is not yet over. Why is it the arbitrators would have, of course, based on questionable evidence, let's put it that way, and I'm being generous, having regard to the fact that Rowley placed his lawyer at the helm of that organization to provide all of the evidence, and he's a lawyer himself, so he knows what to and what not to, and what to generate doubt, etc., so as to make it legitimate. Let's not waste time with that. A lawyer will know, of course, the law and the rules, but his clients, he has a sworn duty to defend. And so, of course, Commoner would have been defending his client Rowley rather than you and I. You and I, the citizens and the taxpayers and the population that is supposed to be benefiting from the spoils and the God-given assets of the country in which we were born. But no, they extract that for their own personal and believe that they alone. I don't know if they believe that they alone born in Trinidad, but what I know is that all of us have equal right to the resources of the country, and Rowley and they have no exclusive right, even though they may be in government, because I could be the prime minister, you could be the prime minister, our children could be the prime minister, and therefore we have a system of government that says that all we want for you when you are given that honorary and that, of course, superlative and that spiritually, should I say, sacred office or offices like ministers and prime minister, that you do your duty to all of the people. No, they do it for themselves and their friends and their families and so on. That has been the hallmark of this government. But I ain't finished yet. So apart from the oil refinery, you also have connected to that Nikwan, yes, connected to that. That is about the oil, gas and petrochemical industry. Nikwan, that blew up soon after Rowley won. Superintend $100 million loan to that company, headed by a lobby Trump to call him in Trinidad. Yeah, that's the man, Gill. Gill is the man, yes. And now we start to lose that $100 million US are talking about, because it blew up and the entire project seems now to be in fallow. That's what the fourth one, and there's a fifth one. You may not imagine that it is connected, but the fiasco or the imbroglio, the public embarrassment and the corruption and the manipulation and the undermining of the rule of law and the perversion of the course of criminal justice are talking about the Vincent Nelson matter. You see, Vincent Nelson has a role to play with the Malcolm Jones matter. It is he who gave Rowley and them, according to the Privy Council, a one paragraph opinion that they should withdraw the matter. You know what I say? The matter that the UNC put in court with respect to Malcolm Jones, it was Vincent a paragraph. According to the Privy Council, they found it very strange that a senior counsel would give that kind of simple, because the entire thing was concocted, was planned. And we know that because Rowley and Al-Rari was talking that even before the elections of 2015. And when they got in there, they simply executed by, of course, using the excuse of Vincent Nelson. And guess why? Vincent Nelson is also connected to the decision to take Malcolm Jones to court under the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisasa. He gave it, but was a very elaborate opinion that they could be successful if they take action against Malcolm Jones in the civil arena to get back some of the money, the billions of dollars that was, of course, recklessly, brutally, and irresponsibly failure to do due diligence in the execution of the function in the name of and in the interest of taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. They believe that money was flowing like water. That gas to liquid fiasco. So Vince Nelson is the fifth matter connected to the energy, oil and gas sector that we must extrapolate and understand the nexus and, more importantly, the focus, and why Rowley and the PNM would focus there in order to pillage and to get more than the fair share and to concoct and to generate crises in order, of course, to exculpate themselves from accounting in the criminal and civil arena. But as my mother would say, weighing past your Rowley because it will meet you. Of you, but then pass all you, it meet you. So those are the 5 areas that are intrinsically connected to our survivability as an economy. And it is even more important now because the world, I suppose, and I suspect that the Ukraine-Russian war has, of course, delayed the pace with which the world would have been going to discontinue across the globe the use of fossil fuel and to look for alternatives because of the climate change agenda and the threat that climate change will bring to our very survival as human beings on the only planet that we know we can survive on, open air, without any special arrangement. Mother Earth. Mother Earth, people. Let's not waste time. So those 5 areas we will exquisitely and in details examine. But let's get now to, of course, what I propose to treat with, and that is to say, to confirm, to ratify, to certify, to expose without doubt that Kamla Prasad Bisesa and they held true to their mandate and to their sworn to commitment to Trinidad and Tobago, as Rowley and they subjected to the same process, but have been executing their mandate contrary to what their sworn dedication to Trinidad and Tobago has demanded. Yeah, contrary. Bunch of criminals on the one side and people who are committed as loyal patriots and citizens to see from the resources of the state. They want only themselves. And I will give you some personal stories. I'll give you some personal stories in the process. Don't feel like talking just so. You see, none of them, the entire cabinet of Rowley, including Rowley, don't the prowess, the knowledge, the experience as Lennox Smith. I say so without fear of contradiction. They are neophytes. They are neophytes. They are neophytes. Johnny come lately, just come, but pretending, and clearly demonstrate by a total empty vessel making plenty noise. That is the level of what I consider to be cognitive emptiness and intellectual decadence that they brought to the politics and to the governance of Trinidad and there. And still, with all the experience, 8 years, and can't get it right. Why? Because their agenda was never that, and they came into government simply because people had a sympathy for the PNM, not Rowley. And don't tell me you don't understand what I mean by that. Nobody have any allegiance to Rowley or Imbert or Hines. Nobody. It is merely a case of psychological residual attachment to something called the PNM. That's all. And because they attach themselves to the PNM, they vicariously are benefiting from the residual affinity and loyalty that certain, or put another way, a critical mass of the electorate have for the PNM. And don't tell me I don't understand that still. Because I will have now to tell you and give you the crushing reality, and that is Imsbert, Hines, any one of them, Sinanan, and let them form their own party outside of the PNM and see if they could survive one day in politics. So don't tell me that I know what I'm talking about. Oh boy. I have this call. Hey. Hello? Hello? I must take this. Listen, I'm on air right now, but I want to see it.
Captain.
Are they on air right now? Yeah, but I want to see you. Come upstairs, sir.
Okay.
Come upstairs so I can talk to you privately. All right.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay. I don't leave already, my son.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. All right. Oh.
Okay then.
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
Yes, indeed. So, people, let them go and form their own party. That is the litmus test. That is the test. That is the formula. Let them go. All the talk they're talking. And let me tell you, sycophant, something as well. You're so stupid. You're taken for a ride. The man has no business in being the leader of the PNM. Manning give him a blight and he then come and take over. But I want you to know that in 1970, Rowley was a member of the NJAC. He doesn't say that at all. He always began his political career at around 1940, at around 1974. Of course, that is after he raped Miss Allen and run away and had to leave Tobago. Had to leave Tobago. And I'm blaming the entire PNM edifice because Manning would have known this dastard criminal that he absorbed because he probably have a loud mouth. And Manning believed that he didn't have that and he wanted someone like that who was prepared to be a bully pulpit, as of course a former president of the United States, Roosevelt. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt would say a bully pulpit is someone who is prepared to be aggressive, to be arrogant, to be acrid. His oratory expressions graveled, rough and crude. And Manning felt that he probably could take on a fellow like that, but to his own dedicated bull. And you see, of course, he's prepared to take on that role because CARICOM are just using him and our money by sending him to New York and, of course, Canada and so on. And as he did, of course, when he went to the so-called boardrooms of the upstreamers, BP and Shell and so on, and come back boasting how he went and negotiate. And when the tides is against him politically, he said, not me, it's of course the technocrats at the ministry. But when it is suited for him, he said, I went and I negotiated. That cursed miscreant. And everything he touched. I don't know how the people in CARICOM, the other leaders, didn't see what is happening. This man is and tell us, well, he negotiated a gas price. You know, that resulted ultimately in about 11 companies leaving Point Lisas and emptying Point Lisas, and therefore we losing, of course, vital foreign exchange. Today, you can't get $100 as an ordinary person. And small businessmen have to use a credit card. And then, of course, the bank say, listen, you could only use half of that as far as foreign exchange purposes is concerned, to pay for whatever you have to pay for. Yeah. Nothing. Yes, but nothing to the table. Nothing except misery, pain, agony, drudgery, and, of course, disappointment, and more poverty, and more crime and criminality, and more debts. Whether it be COVID, or whether it be, of course, normal annual perennial killings in the country. That is what he has done. No advertisement and no promotion could wipe away that, could expunge that from the reality. No talk show host of the PNM could justify that or justify. No. And whether their monies, that's why I took the liberty to say no amount of money could make me do what them doing, to make myself an ass on a daily basis. Because here it is. The caller said that they gain small money. Well, for them, it's $1 million when they get a CPAP contract, you know. When they get because they believe they couldn't get it before, and they would not have gotten it before. But if they had stuck with the regime of the UNC and Kamran Prasad Bisesa, which of course is much more liberal and much more the plethora of box drains that the UNC by virtue of attempting to bring people into the business arena by construction, and then you gravitate and you increase as your knowledge expands, and as you see opportunities with the monies that you got from one contract to the next, and so you grow and your eyes are open and you see opportunities for your children and your family, whilst at the same time providing employment opportunities, whether it's for your own family or for others outside of the family, and contributing to the GDP. Was all about an expansionist economic platform as opposed to the contractive that Rowley and this imps for that is what they have done, and yet still borrow more than everybody else, even though they claim that they were on an economic agenda of fiscal consolidation, which simply means you're bringing your expenditure in line with your income. Well, boy, the amount of money they borrow, our children's children will still have to be paying for that, because they have moved the debt to GDP ratio from 44% when Kamala and they left to nearly 100%. It is somewhere in the late 80s and 90s. So you could say it's almost 100%. That's what they have done. They simply do not know what they're saying, and there is no congruency. There is no parallel with what they say and what they do as people with the responsibility to manage the affairs of the country and for improvement. And don't get me more angry than I am at this point in time. Do not get me I am at this point in time. Because it is a fool, an ass, can only analyze that when they give laptops now, they say they're given in this budget for 2024, and textbooks and some other benefits they say for the ordinary man. I am sure that you have sufficient common sense to understand that the evil and the pain that they put us through was deliberate from that gesture alone. They know what it takes and expects, and what they said to the population before the elections in their manifesto. They know. So they take the risk of we seeing them as our monolithic enemy. They did it deliberately, because how they could now give laptops and books and other benefits, increase in, of course, minimum wage and so on. How come they could do it now, and why? It's very simple. First and foremost, that gesture shows that they understand that a government is supposed to improve the quality of life and standard of living of the people. Let me repeat that. First and foremost, they know, acknowledge and accept that a government's role is to improve, not to reduce, not to degrade, not to oppress, not to deceive, not to displace, and not to take away. It was supposed to improve, to increase. And that is why, for another agenda, they now come and acknowledging and, of course, working closer to that fundamental expectation of the population, and that is to improve, to increase. That is why they came there. But in the case of these people, it's always, as Machiavelli would tell you, Machiavellian, that's a Machiavellian approach. Give the people pain, and if it's 5 years, give them for 4 years, and on the last year, you then, of course, pave roads, you give them some water, you give them books, you give them laptops, and they expect to go back into office. And then the cycle continues after they get into office. No. The UNC has demonstrated that they are a perennial. They are a perennial. And there is need for a perennial, people-centered approach to government on the basis of that fundamental understanding that they must increase or improve the circumstances, ameliorate, and therefore, for example, you didn't used to see for too long, if at all, when they got into full strides, those level of what I consider to be craters in the middle and on the sides and on the pavement of roads in this country, all over the country. No, because they understand the concept of preventive maintenance. Let me repeat that. They understand the concept of preventive maintenance. And so they know that they, apart from, of course, the inherent principle, but they know that they have a commitment to be people-centered, and the people who want the best that the state or the country or Trinidad and Tobago can offer. And so they maintain on a regular basis. You don't have to tell them. The thing you have to get rough, dry, ugly, and people's axle and their tires bursting in, of course, in ditches in the middle of the road. No need for that. Do it preventively, and that is what makes the big difference between the PNM and, of course, the UNC, who is people-centered, and they understand good governance. And good governance not only means transparency, accountability, and communication with the people, but also the expectations of the people to deliver in such a way so as to what? So as to generate a quality of life and standard of living all could be appreciative of. So that being as it may, let me, I omitted, I must say, to say, please share, because the creme de la creme is coming. Share, family, friend, enemies, whatever. And I know that the PNM people are listening. They could say what they want. It is equality. And of course, eat your heart out, whether you like it or not. The fact of the matter is that that level of what I consider to be comic relief from time to time, just a few of you, so I could tolerate that. And I respect, of course, your right to differ, but it must come with the price you are prepared to pay. And we must make you pay here on this program for any hogwash and any deception and mischief that you are prepared to make, rather than making contribution to support good government and good governance. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
Yeah, also good night to everybody live and when you talk about the regionally internationally. Mr. Lennox, I want to laugh it. A vote for the PNM is a vote for local government reform.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You have to laugh.
Mr.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
These people are ridiculous.
After that, people slogan for the laughing.
Yeah. And serious going all over the country.
Slogan for local election.
Yeah, but all over the country they're going and they're talking and criticizing others who criticizing that. And today they're definitely silent. But go ahead, my friend. Sorry about that interruption. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. You could talk about it. You have brilliant ideas, sir. So, Mr. Lennox. So that was for the local government election. I vote for the PNM. I vote for local government reform.
Yeah.
This election, though, Mr. Lennox, you want to pay for general election.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
You hear they say Rashopia. Yeah, the Rashopia is singing a song. Watch out, my children, and they say there's Lucifer with a bag of white powder. But he put a lady on her radio station, but you only putting powder when she sees Mr. That woman her real powder when she sees. She work in National Farm.
Yeah.
But we're hot. But as you say, she have polka Julius looks.
Polka Julius,
yes. When I see that lady, I never watched the program before. Mr. I never watch the program, but you take a look at it.
Yeah.
I vex it on the internet because I just she have a face for radio.
She have a face for radio.
So you hear the narrative, them pushing on that program. you hear the narrative, them pushing on. They can't. You see how you. You see how you just come on this live every night, talk about all the things you want to do to improve people's life.
Yeah.
They hold programs beyond cabal because they cannot see what the PNM do in 9 years, so they will just go with Kamala. You know how disrespectful that is. PNM sycophant, and they can't say one thing that PNM do to improve the lives of the right? And the other meeting. In that crowd, if you ask 90% of them where is the direction to go to Maracas last Rivers, they will know. But if you ask 90% of them in that crowd where is the direction to go to San Point, they know because all of them, the man bring you clip. The man bring down
but if you see old people
bring down all of them from Trinidad to full of the meeting and prepare them say they ain't going to.
Yeah, and if you see old people and space. If you see old people and space. Right?
Mr. Knox, the man asked him a question. Half of them in that crowd don't know nothing what he talking about tonight. They lost. They don't want to clap for when and the thing is, this man got up on that platform and this man can say 5 things that they do to improve the people like you. When he talking about the drink, the so-called, they call him chicken, the so-called, and they get drink raw. You know something like that you see.
Yeah. No, it's the grapes and the fox. The fox and the grapes.
Could go on.
It's the fox and the grapes scenario.
Yeah, you see how the soup. Yeah, you see the soup, the corn and rum, and the fowl and everything, and they put them in the pot because they vote them out. Yeah. And before I go, the thing about it, if as a prime minister you can come on a platform and see 10 things that they did in 9 years to improve the people's lives, then the people don't know what to do.
Yeah, of course.
The PNM is a failure, the worst PNM government in history of Trinidad and Tobago. And one more thing before I go, Mr. Lennox.
Go ahead.
You see, Ira George, radio station.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant man. He put useful idiots to run a program and talk nonsense, and he get views.
For which the PNM is prepared to pay. For which they prepared to empty the treasury. Yeah. So it's a good business model. It's a good business model.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
that powder and she feels and all that thing, that is a useful idiot, Mr. Lennox. If you come in on a radio station for 4 hours and you're proven to the Caribbean and you're proven to Trinidad host, yes, idea. Thank you very much, Mr. Lennox.
Yes,
and
it
you
is.
continue educating. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you very much, of course, for that session. Of course, people don't forget, of course, share. I normally would not do that. I will, deliver the what I consider to be the pedagogue that I am. But of course, if it doesn't get to the target audience, then it's an exercise in futility. So I need to say share. Yes, indeed. Yes, comment. And indeed, also, of course, makes it certain that you light it up. Light up the corridor transformation. I think the creme de la creme, the point of reality is now here. Let me just, of course, get to that immediately as we look at those multiple, many and manifold, yes, wages that would have otherwise been a dispute, or if they were a delinquent government, if they were as recalcitrant and as brutal and as insensitive and as inhumane like Rowley and his bunch. That one, for example, people are lining up for hampers and she will tell them that they're greedy. And they take pleasure, of course, in taking people off the food card. And then, of course, this other one, a total dunderhead, he goes to the hospital and tell people that they can't afford a bed, but, of course, they could build a hospital. And this one, of course, will tell you, as his colleague did, to ride bicycle and coal pot, back to basics. And of course, this other buffoon in Lavantil, they call him, of course, the peacock, plenty flair but no depth. And he is Minister of National Security. Oh, what a poor exhibition of disgrace. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Sorry about that earlier, but I had someone online. Yeah. Yes.
That's okay. That's okay, Lennox.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I'm still listening. You know.
Yes.
Reciting reciting all the cut-ups that we still here.
Yes.
Lennox, man said, no, the man advising party, do not get in love with office. Look who Satan giving advice. He forget when he stood up in Bigot's corner and said he went to Electoral to deal with money. What he wanted the position for Lennox?
This man
He's
a
not
joke.
in love with office.
He's a joke. He's a total joke.
Really said in 2013. The man is a class clown.
Yeah, man. To the extreme.
You tell her, don't vote for Farley. Yeah, don't vote for Farley because Farley will take this and give it to the UNC to get back in office. Steve, what are you doing? You not in love with office? You don't want your money, you don't want your money slipping out, you want your money. You went and you make the EBC, put in 3 extras in Tobago.
Yeah.
Just for you to win. That's like God punish you.
Yeah, this man's a
and
classic
you have more to get, you know, Lennox.
Classic clown.
You have more to get. You see how we Yeah. Yeah, no, you see how we lost 60,000 votes in the local government election?
Mm-hmm.
He have more to get. He have more to get.
Of course.
He was the one. Louis Leasing, that's why Louis Leasing and all of them left the PNM. When he opened the constitution of the PNM, they non-vote, non-paying members to vote for him. And you talking to Farley about don't be in love with office?
Oh my goodness, right?
You are so in love with office, Rowley, that is now an obsession. It is an obsession, Lennox.
Absolutely. And an imperative now. Imperative.
Tonight I want, yeah. Here, no man. This man's sick, you know, Lennox.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
This man's sick.
Yeah.
And I want to tell something wrong with him. Something wrong. He needs more than physical help. He needs psychiatric help. The man feels that every time he opens his mouth is the Bible. It's verses of the Bible coming out. Not lies, you know. Liars Anonymous, doors should be open 24/7 for that man and his cabinet. Lennox,
you want to get help?
And I want to tell you NCP tonight. All they're talking about Kamala can win the next election, can beat Rowley. But I want to ask all you, what make all you feel if anybody else go there, they get into office? It's still Rowley that to deal with, you know. Rowley has to back and say, okay, I will hand it over to all you. Because he's in love with office. Before all you concentrate on moving the EBC, the people that are sitting there, all you want to concentrate on Kamala. Something wrong with all your backstabbers and dirty motors and crabbing the married people. Something wrong with all you. You keep hearing this tune over and over and over like the locust and the grain of corn. Kamala had to go. And you know, the funny thing about it is for PNM, but you know, watch the people in. Kamala's attracted to the PNM. Imagine, she won 7 corporations, only 110 districts. How Rowley got out of the 70s, God alone knows. Because of friends in high places. Lennox, the sooner that we get our act together in this country and do what we're supposed to do, right? Because let me tell you something. PNMites going out in the wheelchair, they walk at the deathbed. But not UNC people. I don't know what make them feel that they're so proud. Is the river first, the clothes first, the animals first, before they cook and food. And then when the hour reach, oh, we're too tired. And then all they want to cuss Kamala and blame Kamala. What Kamala supposed to do? If what it is going on in the country, Lennox, is not motivation enough to go out and vote out the PNM, I don't know what is. All they want licks. And the next time you see all they complain, is to cuss all and throw all in court. Because Kamala can't force all it to go there. And this crap about what she not giving them motivation, reasons enough. Oh, Jesus Christ, Miss BS. She have to give all you. Rowley giving all you 110. What more you want? But all you only study Kamala. And those studies only do to this country. And he's so greedy, he ain't going nowhere, no. He ain't going nowhere. That is one man greedy for, but want to advise folly. Lennox, take care and have a good night, and thanks for listening to my 2 cents.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Of course, that is our external contributor. You know, we have to pause for a cause there, and made a lot of sense. And in fact, today I had to dress down, for want of a better term. A caller who had he went on this skeptical and should I say self-defeatist jaunt and tangent. I had to tell him, but wait, the only how you could make sense to me that somehow the PNM is infallible is if 1986 didn't happen. 1, 2, if 1995 didn't happen. 3, if 2000 didn't happen. 4, if 2010 didn't happen. 6, if the PNM wasn't soundly let me use a colloquial expression. If they didn't get a good cutass in Tobago, then I could understand what you're saying. If they didn't get a firm cutass in Tobago. If, of course, in the local government elections, over 60,000 persons more voted for the UNC than that of the PNM. I don't care how much was the voter turnout. The fact is that occurred. The sophiologists, just like Rowley and they, as far as they are concerned, I could say from now until thy kingdom come that 22 seats is a waste of time, and that of course it's just about 3 seats for the UNC to take over, etc., or 5 seats as the case may be. But that does not change the price of butter. The fact is that they are in government because they have 22 seats. And of course, they will use it as though they have 29 seats, as they have been doing, trying to, of course, infringe on the constitution and do things that are unconstitutional. But you have a very tough and very powerful and very, of course, monolithic and very sound opposition. And when they go to the extreme, the opposition is there, as they have done, to bring them back online, as they did with respect, of course, to the slim majority they have, and take it, of course, and use it to postpone the local government election, which we just, of course, completed just about August 14th. It's not waste time with that. And I'm coming back. Of course, I'm getting problems to start what I really wanted to start, but we will get there. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yes.
You see them seats in our room, they're talking about them?
Yes.
When I Prime Minister come over the EBC and tell them you what you know, I want to know where you call that. Right? Because he just went and say, he going to have even number, just give me 3 more. Right? So he can have an advantage in Tobago where it's backfiring him. So why can't we save in Trinidad here? And I thought about 3 more here. I think we should have 3 more in the UNC constituency where we have overburdened population. They then should split them both there. I mean, the seating arrangement, look how they go back in a 3. Port of Spain about 3 or 4. Yeah? Let's check Warners and Cuba and all these slaves. And didn't keep area. That's it. Right? But you wouldn't do that. Because you know that's where the balance of power is. He and the EBC in collusion. They would never do that. And you know I talking is true. Because the population density in those areas have gone up. And the recommendation by the EBC was to have a certain amount of people that they need to open up another constituency there. And I don't know why it is that after 8 years or much, that being splitting some of these constituencies in 2 and 3. But it wouldn't happen so because it's in the UNC control area. They wouldn't do that there. You know what talking is true there. EBC in collusion with the government to have them in power. That was Eric Williams days, you know. So right after, you're not only fighting the PNM, you're fighting the EBC because the same directive from the Prime Minister of the country. You see where you went and tell them and they split up into big world pass. They run court and do that overnight. Like I tell you, they wouldn't do that in Trinidad because it's the PNM. Oh, good.
Yes, my deed. Yes, my friend. I understand the gerrymandering and the historical context in which it is in Trinidad. I understand that. But I'm saying in spite of that, 1986 came, 1995 came, 2000 came, and 2010 came. But I'm saying all of that to say that the days of the PNM as a political entity and the inevitable fate of being dumped into the dustbin of no return in this country, consequential of the next election, when I expect the UNC to win the vast majority of the seats in Trinidad, more than 22. I am looking at 27, 28 seats, a constitutional majority. And that is a mortal. In fact, the PNM is now facing such a extinction, such a dinosaur existence, such a obsolescence from the political arena of Trinidad and Tobago, that they are mortally afraid. So not only are Rowley and his gang afraid of course, blue lights and silver bracelets. Yes, that's the first on the agenda. But they know once the UNC gets the constitutional majority that is required, no way history and experience combined will make them as the first agenda. And I expect to hear and see that in their manifesto as well. The first thing on the agenda is to rectify that discrepancy, not a discrepancy, I should say that inequity, that of course what I consider to be the asymmetrical distribution of seats in this country. And you are quite right, caller. The increase in population by virtue of historical and practical and pragmatic consideration, because all the empty lands are to the south, whether you meet Caroni first, you meet San Fernando first, or you meet deep south. And therefore, the density and the mobility and the concentration of populations in this part or these parts of the country would necessitate a revision of the seats. And that is where the PNM will end up being in a permanent grave, a permanent political grave. And Rowley and them understand that. So that is why they will fight and they will engage in this mediocre agenda in order to put unqualified people and make them be beholden to them and compromise as a consequence their integrity, not only of themselves but that of the institution to which they attach, in order to keep the PNM in government. That is called a auto coup. Auto coup. The population makes up its mind that the PNM is to the detriment of all of us. The other things will follow. And in spite of their efforts to try to, of course, gerrymander, manipulate, and of course have, as you rightly said, an unfair advantage, which of course has manifested itself in more ways than one. But of course, directly when Rowley went and interfered, or of course spoke with the chairman of EBC one, and then of course in 2020 he comes back now and orchestrated the non-presence of foreign observers in order to, of course, avoid the observation that they would have necessarily have to acknowledge of ballots being found in bushes, in Arima and so on. And that the EBC, soon after the elections, would be given, of course, a company called Grand Bay, a company well known to Rowley and Imbert, for recycling purposes. Elections material, ballot paper and so on, for recycling purposes. In other words, destroying the evidence. So we know that is why the corridor transformation, as part of its expansion initiative, and the fact that we are now on YouTube, as we were on a single platform before, and boy, I'm seeing it there, and it's just making wave on YouTube, as it is of course on social media, 140 something and counting, and of course on the other side about 300 and counting. But the fact of the matter is that the country can no longer afford or countenance or tolerate this bunch of criminals that are solely prepared to scuttle the heritage of this country, and therefore the future and present beneficiaries. Rob them of their just due as citizens. That is what they're about. And I'm telling you that they are sitting on tender keg. They know that the UNC has smarter, better, more qualified, and higher accomplishments, especially in the legal fraternity, in the legal profession, that the PNM could muster up. And I want to say to the Africans in this country as well, you are doing yourself an injustice. You are shaming those who would have invested in you. Africans. And whether you are a leader in the home, a leader in the community, a leader in the steel band movement, can be a place of work, whether it's WASA, whether it's TNTech, etc., whether it's in education, and you continue to remain complacent. And I'm talking here about a combination of both civil society, which of course is a collection of individuals for and pursuing a particular cause, as opposed to independent and individuals who must now talk to each other and make certain that this near the wells. And I had the cause, I think last night, if not this morning, to express my disapprobation and my total disquiet, my deep concern that here it is, and I will not stop talking about it, because they must be convicted and their conscience must be their guide, and that they must act appropriately in their own best interest ultimately, because it was Kamla Prasad Bisesa that gave them the opportunity to get their apartments in East Port of Spain for $100. $100. Boy, I sorry I wasn't in that. I sorry I wasn't in that. I'm telling you, I would have grabbed up that with both hands, open eyes. But no, Eulalie James come and tell them that is a trick, and who go maintain, etc. What the hell that had to do with it? You're owning something, is yours. You have the opportunity to use it as collateral to open a business or to set up a business outside the town. You have the opportunity to sell it if you want, it's yours. It's in town. It will fetch a high price. You sell it if you want and go and live somewhere else. Instead of that, what you have settled for, like what happened recently on Duncan Street, Rowley and them come and say, listen, move out. And where I do not cannot find place for you, and you go into other communities and displace you from where you were born, and your entire family generations were brought up around there, and you contributed, of course, whether they like it or not, to the socio-economic development of that place, and the psychology of having to be uprooted and moved out. Something similar to the Indians when they came here as indentured laborers, as well as the Africans when they came here as slaves. That is the uprooting we are talking about. That is the dispelling we are talking about. That is the displacement we are talking about. They're telling me about. And so you could have gotten that opportunity, and around Carnival time, where of course East Port of Spain become the mecca of Carnival, because that is where Cambole starts the Carnival. And you could empty a room so that some tourists could come and give all some Yankee dollars. Oh gosh, and only lose that way. They say that two things don't come back: age, and of course when smoke go up. Well, I want to tell them as well that the opportunity to get an apartment for $100 in Port of Spain, that too don't come back, especially under Rowley administration. You better pray, only better pray, that the UNC comes back And person like myself, believing, of course, that lightning could strike twice in the same place, that you get that opportunity. Because I want to tell you something, and in Beetham and in Sealat and so on, because you have apartments and, of course, duplexes that are HDC owned. That the same policy, I'm sure, would have applied. You own it. And naturally, you will take care of it because it is yours. I want to tell you, hope that lightning strike twice in the same place. Otherwise, it's displacement for all the tail. And don't be surprised. You give Rowley another chance, or the ending or the continuing of his what I consider to be pernicious, wicked, diabolical, and inhumane stint until 2025. Don't be surprised if he finished the job by, of course, gentrificating East Port of Spain in the interest of his 1%. The same fellas we say he want to get rich, and the rich will naturally take care of the poor. That and a pink donkey. That and a pink donkey you wouldn't see. And it's impossible. As he did only recently in Tobago. Tell the people in Tobago he could do more with less again. We went through that already. The man is like that little toddler, say, that sees, of course, and fixated on that hot jar of water and only going towards it. No matter what mommy say, they go until, of course, they get their hands on it, and then, of course, they pour it on themselves as it's blasted history. Come on. How much more can you be suckers for punishment in Diego Martin? In Port of Spain South constituency, the Sentans, both, of course, Sentans West, Port of Spain North, where this, what I consider to be buffoon, this Rowley's, of course, sidekick, are talking about Short Young. We don't know nothing about them. We don't know where they come from. None of them, including Rowley. But as I was saying, he never talks about that. And therefore, you sycophants must know that he was diametrically opposed to the PNM, and therefore, your founding father are talking about, I want to name the airport after Williams and not after Pandey. That's a madness. After what Pandey went through at the hands of a PNM administration, looking, of course, to make themselves pristine and of course, immaculate, when they are the devil personified. So it was important, of course, to lay that foundation for the fact that the performance of the UNC is unquestionable. And Rowley has the audacity and the temerity to suggest that people ought to have, as in the case of the OAS matter, they ought to have your outfit. Nobody tell you that now that you have run it into the ground, run it into almost out of existence, run it into a position of extinction. Yes. That you want to venture now and talk about Kamla Prasad Bisesa and UNC come up with all kind of cock and bull story, or who gave a toe amputated, and who, of course, is planning to replace her as opposition leader. Okay. Hogwash. I read this morning the Constitution, and tomorrow night we will deal with that once and for all. I hate people when they act in ignorance and stupidity and ad hominem and willing to believe our dribble and playing in the hands of these ne'er-do-wells that they dig deep into their propaganda machinery and come up with all of that. I was telling somebody when I heard that, I said the PNM is extraordinary when coming to these kind of things. They will manifest it. They put rocket inside its bash tank. They instituted. You ever say they instituted a state of emergency around the then Speaker House just for she not to come to court, just for she not to come to the Parliament. I'm talking about Miss Okasi Paul. Yeah, they put a state of emergency only around her house so that she can't leave. And the police they put. We were tear gassed for saying Rowley must go. We were arrested by the police for protesting around the open savannah, where of course the possibility of community spread as far as COVID is concerned was impossible. But no, it was about the juggernaut hand, the muscle, of course the sledgehammer, to show that we are boss, and therefore when we tell you don't come out. That is the dictator we have. That is the desperate individuals that we have. It was they who set up Anand Ramlogan and of course his colleague by paying Vincent Nelson $10 million. Understand that? It was they who set up Bazio Pandey and was able to get to the sitting judge, Sherman McNichols, to throw the book at Pandey. It's a good thing it came out into the public domain, because evil could never conquer good, and therefore the appeal judges wanted to know, come and address me on the basis of political interference, and that is how Pandey got away. In his travails at the time, he come out grey, and he went in, of course, clean shaved. That is the PNM. It is the PNM who is now talking him to, of course, go down to Shagaramas and lock hands and so on, and didn't mind he was castigating Kamala. But now that he's on a Kamala platform, you hear Rowley talking about it all over the place. That is the level of evil that we have, purported to be government and governance and a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. No, understand that. So we know. But in spite of all of that, the population also know what they have to do, and therefore 1986, 1995, and of course 2000 and 2010, and of course in 2025, I expect a massive victory for the opposition, because this cannot continue. It is not sustainable, and they must be marched into prison once and for all in order to make them understand that that kind of travesty, that kind of undermining of our democracy and the rule of law and the infiltration of the independent institutions in this country protected by the Constitution must no longer be. Otherwise, we are in deep trouble. These fellas believe that they are above the law. They believe they are above the law. Understand that. And you right in your right within and on your body, in your phalanges, yes, your fingers, phalanges, you have one called the index finger that will do the job, in spite of all of what they say and all what they throw at you. Because remember, yes, when he was in Tobago, you know, he loved Tobagonians. He mentioned what happened to the Galicia and the devastation that Tobago went into, because he wanted his own people from the PNM to, of course, run the roost and benefit from the dollars that were coming to the various entities that were managing the sea bridge, and as a consequence, more efficient, or should I say, not complained of by Tobago, and crashed the Tobago economy. He didn't say that. He didn't mention that at all. And the most recent, a third of the national budget just before the last election in Tobago, the THA elections, they empty it in Tobago. They have people who get contract, ain't do any work and get paid. But that is not the important thing here. Why I mentioned that? Why I mention it is because the rest of contracts after they lost resoundingly, a 14-1. They only got one seat. And that entity, that state enterprise, is connected to the Prime Minister's office. I want the Tobago people understand the evil that is among you and was talking to you over the weekend. I wonder. I can't wonder because I know. Well done. You found him out. He's from among you. And you dealt him a serious blow. It should have been 15-0. But those Judicat projects that were incomplete or not yet delivered and were in the pipeline for Tobago, they pull it back. Tobago, all they don't know that. They pull it back. Go and find out. Do not be as East Port of Spain and Laventil and Beetham, etc. electorate. Rowley could say nothing to stop you from making certain that the PNM lose the Tobago East and West seats. And you have, of course, characters in the form of Shanfa Kojo and the one in the East lurking in the Prime Minister's office, and like she get COVID too. And could talk hogwash before they abandon Rowley and gravitated to those who are now in charge of the THA. And as a true Tobagonian, so as to make yourself useful to Tobago and still get something, rather than your career coming to an abrupt end, because that is what's going to happen to you all, and you will be relegated to the dustbin of political history, just as the PNM as an entity, as a party, under this miscreant and this mafia, under this total and absolute dictator and autocrat and corruption promoter called Keith Christopher Rowley. Let's not waste time. Now, people, of course, let's go straight, of course, to some of the wages that were settled by the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration. We want to make sure we didn't leave any stone unturned. We want to make you understand that it's chalk and cheese. You want to make sure that you understand. We want to make sure that you understand that Rowley and they are boo. And some say boo-boo.
Settled wage negotiations under the UNC Partnership Government 2010 to 2015. Settled negotiations between May 2010 to June 2014.
Listen to them. Settled wages.
And they are 1. The National Agricultural Marketing and Development Corporation NUGFO hourly, daily and weekly. Rated 2005 to 2007. 2. The Naparima Bowl NUGFO daily, rated 2006 to 2008. 3. Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago PSA hourly, daily, weekly. 2008 to 2010. 4. Betting Levy Board PSA monthly, rated 2008 to 2010. 5. Chakwaramaz Development Authority EPA precepted staff 2008 to 2010. 6. Chakwaramaz Development Authority PSA monthly paid employees 2008 to 2010. 7. Civil Aviation Authority of Trinidad and Tobago PSA monthly paid 2008 to 2010. 8. Chief Personnel Officer NUGFO Government daily rated employees 2008 to 2010. 9. Chief Personnel Officer POS Corp AWU hourly, daily and weekly, rated 2008 to 2010. 10. Chief Personnel Officer Fire Service Association, 1st Division, monthly paid 2008 to 2010. 11. Chief Personnel Officer Fire Service Association,
So you will realize that the numbers are moving faster than the voice, but it's all intended to speed up the whole process because there's 83 in all that is there. And as I said, ultimately it would have been 130. But I thought you'll get a comprehensive understanding. And of course, the trade unions are mentioned, so they could come and say and sue Smith and say that never happened. That is the level of exposure and the level of what I consider to be veracity of what we say. We must of course expose because we have the technology. So I am using the technology to show you that what they was dreaming of and what they were resisting, and they were recalcitrant, and they were complaining about when they got the job to pay the public servants, saying that, listen, if we pay all you lose all your job, and that Kamala and them should have paid all you rather than we. No, you win the elections. So you say Kamala and them got that. Look the dates across there. In 2008, they inherited that and had to settle it in 2010 and 2011. So you tell me about hold your tail. You want to have your cake and eat it. You want the perks and the benefits of the job, but you don't want to do the job. Well, that is fraud, Rowley, and all of you. That is fraud. Listen to how people operate. That is how Kamala did it. She paid them. She treated with them. All of the trade unions, PSA, NUGFW, ATGWTU. Some of them I don't even know, but of course the names are there. The sugar and feed, the sugarcane feed center. All of them got their kakada when the UNC under Kamala was there. Rowley only complaining and don't want to pay the people and take the people who invest their money, and that is hurting. Invest their money, those persons who put out their hard-earned dollars and borrowed money, and people who had confidence in them and went and worked and can't get their salary and can't put food on the people's table. And Rowley, with a straight face and no big thing, went to the court and dissolved the education facilities company under which they got those contracts and leave them high and dry with nothing at a time when COVID devastated people's not just earnings but their savings. That wicked man. There could be no more evil in a person than Rowley and his entire satanic government. Let's continue.
Second Division, monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 12 Chief Personnel Officer Prison Service Association, 1st Division, monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 13 Chief Personnel Officer Prison Service Association, 2nd Division, monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 14 Central Regional Health Authority NUGFU daily rated 2008 to 2010. 15 Lake Asphalt of Trinidad and Tobago Limited Good monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 16 National Agricultural Marketing Development Companies TSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 17 National Institute of Higher Education, Research Science and Technology, PSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 18 National Maintenance Training and Security Company TIWU daily rated staff 2008 to 2010. 19 National Maintenance Training and Security Company TIWU monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 20 North Central Regional Health Authority NUGFU daily rated 2008 to 2010. 21 National Insurance Property Development Co. Ltd, NIPDEC, PSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010.
All these are employees that got their negotiations completed by Kamala Prasad Bisasa. I notice all of them, while it might have been ending, but they promptly dealt with it. The only people so stupid, and all of them get something either above or just below 14%. Rowley promised the stupid Roger, who refused the 14% under Kamala and went and take 10%. And even with that 10%, he tell them he go pay them half. And the next half is nowhere to be seen because he deserve Petrotrin and throw all of them out of job. That wicked man. And plunge the Southwestern Peninsula into and consistent poverty at this time. I will come with some kind of hogwash and say that some people must be displaced. All them people you displaced in one fell sweep. You didn't know that is people you're dealing with, and that they have families and they have to eat and they have mortgages to pay and they have car to pay for and they have, of course, light bills and rent and so on to pay. You didn't know that, Rowley. Suddenly you go hear him talking that kind of hogwash or avoiding to talk about it at all. We have to wake up the people. Wake up. Wake up.
22 Northwest Regional Health Authority NUGFA daily rated 2008 to 2010. 23 Public Transport Service Corporation, PTSC, PSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 24 Southwest Regional Health Authority NUGFA daily rated 2008 to 2010. 25 Sugarcane Feed Center at Coda Junior monthly paid employees and hourly and daily paid workers 2008 to 2010. 26 Tobago Regional Health Authority PSA monthly pay 83 wage negotiations completed across the various sectors for the working class in the society. And all you don't know that it is Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the UNC. You must now repose your trust and your vote and therefore get them back into office as quickly as possible so as to continue the good work that they would have started then and was interrupted by, of course, a wicked, criminalistic oriented individuals who clearly only was concerned about getting into power. And now that they are there, it is like pulling teeth from a baby to extricate them or to extract them. Well, I say it is easy. All you need to do, every single electorate, you go to your respective constituency and where you are supposed to vote, your voting booth, and just vote the UNC and get rid of PNM once and for all, and your revenge will be sweet. Your revenge will be sweet. 27 Tobago Regional Health Authority NUGFA daily rated 2008 to 2010. 28 Trinidad and Tobago Racing Authority PSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 29 Telecommunication Services of Trinidad and Tobago CWU Senior Staff Bargaining Unit 2008 to 2010. 30 Telecommunication Services of Trinidad and Tobago CWU Junior Staff Bargaining Unit 2008 to 2010. 31 University of the West Indies Group of University Teachers Academic, Senior Administration, Professionals 2008 to 2000.
Right now, the university lecturers kicking up a storm. They can't get their money. Negotiations is being obfuscated or avoided, and they're not satisfied. And so, those graduates who are supposed to be graduating and their papers being marked, they stop marking and they're holding, of course, those students to ransom. It might be a despicable act, but if you were in their position and they want to force the employment of Trinidad and Tobago to come to the negotiation table and conclude that that negotiation that is in your interest, I bet you think different. So we have to be empathetic and sympathetic to these people because it is in their interest. They must seek. And if everybody seek their interest, Trinidad and
Precepted Staff 2008 to 2010. 33 Water and Sewerage Authority PSA monthly pay 2008 to 2010. 34 Water and Sewerage Authority NUGFA hourly, daily, and weekly rated 2008 to 2010. 35 Chief Personnel Officer PSA Civil Service and Statutory Authorities. Monthly paid employees 2009 to 2011. 36 Chief Personnel Officer to Teachers 2009 to 2011. 37 Deposit Insurance Corporation Goodwill monthly paid 2009 to 2011. 38 Family Planning Association of Trinidad and Tobago NUGFA monthly rated 2011. 39 Fatima College TIWU weekly rated 2008 to 2011. 40 National Money of Trinidad and Tobago Limited OWTU hourly rated / daily paid 2008 to 2011. 49 Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited OWTU hourly rated / weekly paid 2011. 50 Petroleum Company of Trinidad WTU Hospital Domestic Workers and Wardsmen 2008 to 2011. 51 Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Trimmer Operations, OWTU hourly. Weekly rated 2008 to 2011. 52 Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Trimmer Operations, EPA Estate Police Officers 2008 to 2011. 53 Point Leases Industrial Port Development Corporation Pseudo Monthly Pay 2008 to 2011. 54 Point Leases Industrial Port Development Corporation Pseudo Supervisory Bulletin 2008 to 2011. 55 Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago Pseudo Hourly and Monthly Rated 2008 to 2011. 56 Public Transport Service Corporation TIWU Hourly / Weekly Rated Employees 2009 to 2011. 57 Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission EPA Precepted Staff 2008 to 2011. 58 The University of the West Indies EPA Estate Police Officers 2009 to 2011. 59 The University of the West Indies OWTU Non-Academic Staff 2009 to 2011. 60 Housing Development Corporation 9 to 2012. 61 National Insurance Board PSA Monthly Pay 2010 to 2012. 62 Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited OWTU Monthly Pay 2009 to 2012. 63 Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Trimmer Operations, OWTU Monthly Pay 2009. 2012. 64 Point Leases Industrial Development Corporation SUO Hourly Pay 2009 to 2012. 65 Trinidad and Tobago Mortgage Finance Company Limited Big Blue Monthly Pay 2010 to 2012. 66 Telecommunication Services of Trinidad and Tobago EPA Precepted Staff 2010 to 2012. Chief Person 68 Chief Personnel Officer, POS Corp, AWU Hourly, Daily and Weekly Rated 2011 to 2013. 69 Chief Personnel Officer, Tobago House of Assembly UBU 1 and 3 2011 to 2013. 71 National Insurance Property Development Company EPA Precepted Staff 2010 to 2013. 72 National Petroleum Marketing Company Limited EPA Precepted Security Staff. Precepted Staff 2011 to 2013. Investment Company Limited OWTU Supervisory Staff 2011 to 2013. 74 NAPIT Investment Company Limited OWTU Hourly Rated Employees 2011 to 2013. 75 NAPIT Investment Company Limited OWTU Monthly Rated Employees 2011 to 2013. 76 Sugarcane Feed Center Atcoota Junior Monthly Paid Employees and Hourly and Daily Paid Workers 2011. 77 Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission OWTU Hourly, Daily, Weekly, and Monthly Paid Bargaining Unit 2010 to 2013. 78 Water and Sewerage Authority NUGFO Hourly, Daily, and Weekly Rated 2011 to 2013. 79 Central Bank EPA Precepted Staff 2012 to 2014. 80 National Petroleum Marketing Company Limited OWTU Hourly / Daily Rated 2011 to 2014. 80 Tobago SUO Hourly and Monthly Rated 2011 to 2014. 82 Power Generation Company Limited OWTU Weekly Rated 2011 to 2014. 83 Telecommunication Services of Trinidad and Tobago ESA, Executive Secretaries Association, Bulletin #2 2013 to 20. 83 Wage Settlements. Posted on February 5, 2015. Some 83 wage negotiations settled and more on the way. This government has repeatedly pledged its commitment to labor and workers. Promising to put workers at the center, as stated in its manifesto, the People's Partnership Government has insisted that some 83 wage disputes have been settled since assuming office in 2010. Minister of Labor and Small and Micro Enterprise Errol McLeod.
Negotiating your rukun kukum kum and understand this is serious business. It's a serious business. We cannot have the hogwash and the lies and the constant huge dosage of innuendos and incompetence and impotence and literal and blatant physical thievery and insulting our collective and independent and individual intelligence. And we must take that. You Satans, get the hands. You lie on the UN coming to government, lie and stay in government, and lie again to stay in government, and lie again to stay in government. No, you are the anathema, you are the hatred of the people. There can be no individual more hated in this country than Rowley. And there could be no institution more hated in this country than the PNM. For that level of travesty blatant lies and believe that somehow they will get away with it. Blue lights and silver bracelets. Blue lights and silver bracelets. Your portions. Your portions. Your portions. Your portions. A long presentation, of course. 83 settlements proven to you in detail. Let the trade unions tell me a lie and let them sue me if that did happen between 2010 and 2015. Every 3 years, negotiations. Well, it was Roger and they who refused and put their own workers in jeopardy, mounting a dangerous and devious tiger called Rowley, and went to dismount. He gave them a terrible time. Terrible time. He gormandized them. He eat them viciously and, of course, ravenously for their stupidity. But we have an opportunity to redeem ourselves, and we will do so in due course. 2025 must come, but it looks as though the way how Rowley is desperate and clearly getting problems inside of the PNM, it may be earlier than we think. It may well be earlier than we think. Having regard, of course, to of course, what we are seeing unfolding on a daily basis within and outside of the PNM. Let us, of course, give a tribute and to wake up Laventille and East Port of Spain, Beetham and so on, and along the East-West Corridor, those constituencies on which the PNM rely to get their support as a vote bank they have created. And of course, he's over in Tobago making sure that 2 seats that is already lost, but that is amorphous at best, and at worst, they're gone. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, of course, don't forget tomorrow morning, of course, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself, as we return here, of course, tomorrow night, when, of course, we will continue with this and more. We have quite a lot. I reach yet to the point where the solution to the crime problem that is ravaging Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, you cannot consider yourself immune. We live in a Russian roulette environment, and I will show you, because we did it before and we can do it again. Through, of course, the MLIO program, the Mobile Laventille Improvement Organization, Trade School, and other facilities. And even, of course, whilst the PNM cannot use it, I will show when the UNC comes into government how to use the thing that is my idea. The Laventille Technology and Continuing Education Center. Do not be fooled by Hines. Do not be fooled by Hines that he somehow is responsible for that. No, Lennox Smith. His dreadlocks is too thin for him to think that big. You know what I say? I say his dreadlocks is too thin for him to think that big. And just in case you had doubt, and just in case you don't understand the pattern of behavior and the opportunistic nature of these people, I want you to know that God Christopher facility, where he opened to assist when not knowing, of course, that the PNM will take away them children computer laptops, but there it is. He had that running, and Hines and the representative for Laventille East, Leons, they stood up and see the PNM close it down as soon as they came into office in 2015. And they did damage as well to the MLIO program, which I, of course, invented, created, and was, of course, pursuing. Never funded it, took away the resources, and then leave the people in total fallow and naked and now exposed to those young people who are committed to the area and would want to see it develop, and our young people take their place in the annals of history and of course